"Mama, you have to promise me something." Linda Wilson looked up from her laptop, meeting her daughter's serious 8-year-old gaze across their small kitchen table. Rita had that expression, the one that meant she'd been thinking hard about something. "What's that, baby? Promise me you'll go on that date tonight. You bought a new dress and everything." Linda felt her chest tighten. Her daughter shouldn't have to worry about her social life. "Rita, you always say no when your friends try to set you up. But Ms. Jennifer says this restaurant is really fancy and you deserve fancy things." Rita's small hand reached across to squeeze Linda's fingers. "You're always working or with me. When do you do something just for you?" Linda stared at her daughter, this impossibly perceptive child who somehow understood loneliness better than most adults. The date was in 2 hours. She'd already planned to cancel. "Okay," Linda heard herself say. "Okay, I'll go." Rita's face lit up, like Christmas morning. "Really? Really? But you're staying with Mrs. Kim downstairs, and you're in bed by 9. 9:30? 9:15. Final offer. Deal." 2 hours later, Linda stood in front of Mingle's restaurant, smoothing down her burgundy dress and questioning every decision that led to this moment. The restaurant was beautiful, all subtle lighting and elegant minimalism. The kind of place where a single appetizer cost more than she usually spent on groceries. Through the glass doors, she could see her blind date already seated, checking his phone with the impatient air of someone who had better places to be. She should leave. This was a mistake. But then she thought of Rita's hopeful face, and she pushed through the door. The date lasted exactly 43 minutes. 43 minutes of a corporate lawyer named Richard explaining why Seoul was interesting but not quite up to New York standards, why he preferred exotic women, but ones who understood Western culture, and why single mothers were brave but complicated. By the time their appetizers arrived, Linda was plotting her escape route. By the time he started explaining Korean business culture to her, who'd lived here for 6 years and ran a successful translation company, she was done. "I'm sorry," Linda interrupted, standing abruptly. "I just remembered I have an early morning tomorrow." Richard blinked. "We haven't even gotten our main courses." "I'll pay for my half." No, I've got it." He waved her off, already pulling out his phone. "Probably for the best anyway. I have a conference call with London in an hour." Linda grabbed her purse and walked toward the exit, her heels clicking against the marble floor. She'd made it halfway across the restaurant when she heard it. 2 men sat at the table directly in her path, speaking in rapid Korean. They thought she was just another foreigner, another Western woman who wouldn't understand. Most people made that assumption. But Linda's Korean was flawless. "Thursday at 2 a.m., container 4R47 at Busan Port." She kept walking, her expression neutral, but every instinct screamed at her to listen. "You're sure Inspector Kwan is secured?" "He's been on our payroll for 6 months. He'll make sure the manifest gets flagged as machinery parts." "And the prosecutor, Park Min-jae?" "Won't be a problem after Thursday. We're handling it." Linda's blood ran cold. Park Min-jae was the prosecutor who'd been all over the news, the one going after organized crime families. And these men were casually discussing his murder like they were planning a dinner reservation. She should keep walking, should leave, should forget everything she'd just heard. Instead, she pulled out her phone, pretending to check a message while her fingers found the voice memo app. She hit record and slipped it back into her purse, the microphone still active. "The Choi family thinks they're untouchable," one man continued, his voice thick with contempt. Do-yoon Choi walks around like he owns Seoul. But after Thursday, the Seoul faction sends a message. We own the ports. We own the prosecutors. We own... Excuse me. The voice came from directly behind Linda, so close she felt the words against her neck. Deep, controlled, dangerous. She turned. The man standing there was the kind of handsome that made rational thought difficult. Tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent, with sharp features and eyes so dark they looked black in the restaurant's ambient lighting. His hair was styled back from his face, revealing a thin scar cutting through his left eyebrow. But it was the way he looked at her that made Linda's breath catch, like he could see directly into her mind, like he knew exactly what she'd been doing. You dropped this, he said in perfect English, holding out a lipstick that absolutely was not hers. Linda stared at it, then at him. Understanding crashed over her. This was a rescue, or a warning, she couldn't tell which. Thank you, she managed, taking the lipstick with trembling fingers. His hand closed gently around her elbow. Let me walk you out. It's late. It wasn't a request. The two men at the table had stopped talking, watching this interaction with sudden alertness. Linda let the stranger guide her toward the exit, her heart hammering so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. They made it outside before she yanked her arm away. Who the hell are you? Someone who just saved you from a very unpleasant conversation. He studied her with that same unnerving intensity. You understand Korean. It wasn't a question, but Linda shook her head anyway. I don't know what... Please don't insult both of us. I watched you. I saw your expression change the moment they started talking. I saw you record them. He tilted his head slightly. The question is, who do you work for? I'm a translator. I run Wilson Translation Services. I don't work for anyone except my clients, and I definitely don't work for whatever this is. A translator. Something flickered across his face. That explains the language skills. It doesn't explain why you were eavesdropping on a Seoul faction conversation. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was leaving a terrible date and happened to walk past their table. And happened to record them. Linda's stomach dropped. Look, I don't know who you are. Do-yoon Choi. The name hit her like a physical blow. Do-yoon Choi. The man the Seoul faction had just been discussing. The man they considered their enemy. Oh God, Linda whispered. Now you understand the situation. Do-yoon's expression remained neutral, but something in his posture shifted. Those men inside work for my competitors. They just exposed an operation in front of a woman who understands Korean, which means I have a problem. I'm not your problem. I'm going home. She tried to walk past him, but he stepped into her path. Ms. Wilson, it is Ms. Wilson, correct? You became my problem the moment you understood that conversation. The Seoul faction doesn't leave loose ends. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining reality. His voice softened, just slightly. You heard them discuss a murder. Do you really think they'll just let you walk away? Linda's mind raced. She thought of Rita, asleep at Mrs. Kim's apartment. Thought of her life, small but safe, built carefully over 6 years. Thought of how quickly everything could shatter. What do you want from me? The recording and everything you heard. And then we discuss how to keep you alive. The casual way he said it made her knees weak. Linda pulled out her phone, fingers shaking as she stopped the recording and forwarded it to her email. Insurance, in case this man decided she was a loose end too. Then she played it for him. Do-yoon listened without expression, but she saw his jaw tighten when they mentioned his name. When it finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Container 447, Inspector Kwan, Thursday at 2 a.m. He looked at her. You've just handed me the location of a major smuggling operation and the name of a corrupt official. That's valuable information. Great. So we're done here. Not even close. He pulled out a business card, pressing it into her hand. Those men saw you walk past their table. They'll review security footage. They'll identify you, and then they'll come asking questions. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to prepare you. His eyes held hers. I can protect you, Ms. Wilson, but you have to let me. I don't need protection from a... She stopped herself. From a criminal? A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Fair enough, but consider this. I'm a criminal who wants to keep you alive. The Seoul faction are criminals who want you dead. Choose wisely. Before Linda could respond, a black Mercedes pulled up to the curb. Do-yoon opened the back door. This car will take you home. My driver is discreet. Tomorrow, call the number on that card. We need to discuss your future employment. My what? You're a translator who specializes in legal documents. I have legitimate businesses that require those services. Consider it a job offer with excellent benefits, including security. I'm not working for you. Then you're working against your own survival instincts. He gestured to the car. Go home to your daughter, Ms. Wilson. Rita, age 8, enrolled at Seoul International School. Make sure she gets to see you tomorrow. The fact that he knew Rita's name made Linda's blood run cold. Is that a threat? It's a reminder that you're not invisible, and neither is she. His expression shifted, something almost like regret crossing his features. I don't hurt children, Ms. Wilson, but the Seoul faction isn't so principled. Call me tomorrow, or don't, but when they come for you, and they will, don't say I didn't warn you. He closed the car door before she could respond. Linda sat in the back of the Mercedes, watching Do-yoon Choi disappear back into the restaurant, and wondered if she'd just made a deal with the devil or been saved by him. Her phone buzzed. A text from Rita. How was the date? Did he fall in love with you? Linda stared at the message, then at the business card in her hand. Heavy cardstock, simple black lettering. A phone number that would change everything if she called it. She thought about Thursday, about Container 447, about men who discussed murder over dinner like it was nothing. She thought about Rita sleeping peacefully, dreaming of romance and happy endings. And she thought about Do-yoon Choi's last words. When they come for you, and they will. The Mercedes pulled up to her apartment building. Linda climbed out, legs unsteady, and looked back at the driver. He was young, professional, with an earpiece that marked him as security. Tell your boss I'll think about it, she said. The driver nodded once. He knows you will, Ms. Wilson. He knows. Linda walked into her building, took the elevator to the 3rd floor, and let herself into Mrs. Kim's apartment. Rita was curled up on the couch, fast asleep, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. She looked so small, so fragile, so completely unaware that their world had just tilted on its axis. Linda scooped her daughter into her arms, feeling the warm weight of her, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. Rita stirred but didn't wake, simply burrowing deeper into her mother's shoulder. I've got you, baby, Linda whispered. Mama's got you. But as she carried Rita home, Linda couldn't shake the feeling that she was the one who needed protection now, and the only person offering it was the last person she should trust. Linda didn't sleep. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Rita's soft breathing from the next room. Every car that passed outside made her flinch. Every footstep in the hallway made her heart race. By 3 a.m., she'd convinced herself she was being paranoid. By 4 a.m., she'd checked the locks on every window and door twice. By sunrise, she'd made her decision. She wasn't calling Do-yoon Choi. She was going to the police. Rita padded into her room at 7:30, already dressed for school in her uniform, her hair a mess of curls that needed attention. "Mama, you look terrible." "Thanks, baby." Linda managed a smile as she reached for her hairbrush. "Come here, let's fix this situation." As she worked through Rita's tangles, her daughter chattered about a school project on Korean traditional culture, about her best friend Mina's upcoming birthday party, about wanting to learn taekwondo like the other kids. Normal 8-year-old concerns. A normal 8-year-old life. Linda would do anything to keep it that way. She dropped Rita at school, watching until her daughter disappeared through the gates, laughing with her friends. Then she drove to the Yongsan police station, Do-yoon's business card burning a hole in her purse. The detective who took her statement was middle-aged, tired-looking, with the kind of face that had seen too much. Detective Han, his nameplate read. "Let me make sure I understand," he said slowly after Linda finished explaining. "You overheard 2 men discussing a murder plot against Prosecutor Park Min-jae. You recorded part of their conversation, and then Do-yoon Choi personally escorted you out of the restaurant. Yes, and you believe you're in danger from the Seoul faction." "I know I am." They discussed specific details, container numbers, times, corrupted officials. "If they realize I understood." "Ms. Wilson," Detective Han's expression was carefully neutral. "Do you know who Do-yoon Choi is?" "He told me. He runs the Choi organization, one of the most powerful crime families in Seoul." Detective Han leaned forward. "And you're telling me he just happened to be at that restaurant? Just happened to know exactly what you'd overheard? Just happened to offer you protection?" Linda's stomach dropped. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying that in my experience, when 2 rival organizations are involved, coincidences don't exist." He tapped his pen against his desk. "It's possible Do-yoon Choi orchestrated that entire situation. Maybe he wanted you to overhear those men. Maybe he's using you. For what? Information, leverage, access to something you don't even know you have." Detective Han pulled out a form. "I'll file your report. I'll forward the recording to our organized crime unit. But Ms. Wilson, my advice, stay away from everyone involved. The Seoul faction, the Choi organization, all of it. Men like Do-yoon Choi don't offer protection out of kindness. They offer it because you're useful." Linda left the police station feeling worse than when she'd arrived. She sat in her car, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to think clearly. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. "Hello? Ms. Wilson, I heard you went to the police this morning." Do-yoon's voice was calm, conversational, like they were old friends catching up. Linda's blood ran cold. "How did you—" "I have people everywhere, Linda. May I call you Linda?" "No, and stop following me." "I'm not following you. I'm protecting you. There's a difference." A pause. "The Seoul faction knows who you are. They pulled the restaurant's security footage 2 hours ago. Right now, they're deciding whether you're worth the trouble of eliminating." Linda's hand started shaking. "You're lying. You're trying to scare me into—" "Look behind you." She spun in her seat. A black sedan was parked 3 spaces back, engine running. As she watched, A man in the passenger seat raised a camera with a telephoto lens and took her picture. "Oh God," Linda whispered. "They're just watching for now, confirming your identity, your patterns, your vulnerabilities." Do-yoon's voice hardened. "How long until Rita gets out of school? 3:30? They know that too. If you touch my daughter, I'm not the one you should be worried about." The sound of traffic came through the phone, suggesting he was outside, somewhere. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to drive to the address I'm about to text you. You're going to accept my job offer, and you're going to let me put security on you and Rita until this situation is resolved. I don't work for criminals. You work for survival. Everything else is just ego." The line went quiet for a moment. "Linda, I respect that you went to the police. It was the right instinct. But Detective Han can't protect you. He doesn't have the resources, the reach, or frankly, the motivation. One translator and her daughter aren't worth starting a war over. But you know who would start a war." Linda didn't answer. "I would, because the Seoul faction made this personal when they operated in my territory. Because they threatened someone under my protection. And yes, before you ask, you became under my protection the moment I walked you out of that restaurant. I didn't ask for your protection. You didn't have to." Something in his voice softened. "I know what you're thinking, that I'm just another criminal using you. Maybe Detective Han is right. Maybe I am. But ask yourself this. If I wanted to use you, why would I warn you? Why would I show my hand?" "I don't know. You tell me." "Because despite what you think, I'm not my father. I don't sacrifice innocent people for strategy." A car horn blared on his end. "The address is coming through. Be there in 30 minutes. Bring Rita. I want to meet her properly." "Absolutely not. I'm not bringing my daughter into—" "She's already in it. The only question is whether she has protection or not." His voice dropped. "Please, Linda, trust me, just this once." The line went dead. Linda stared at her phone as a text came through with an address in Itaewon, one of Seoul's upscale neighborhoods. She looked in her rearview mirror. The black sedan was still there, the men inside still watching. She thought about Detective Han's warning, about coincidences that didn't exist, about being used by men who saw her as a tool, not a person. Then she thought about Rita, laughing with her friends, completely unaware that danger was circling. Linda started her car and drove to Seoul International School. She was 3 hours early for pickup, but she didn't care. She sat in the parking lot, watching the building, and waited. At 3:30, when Rita came bouncing out with her backpack, Linda felt something in her chest loosen. "Mama!" Rita ran to the car, confused. "You're never this early. What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, baby. How was school?" "Good. We learned about Hanbok today, and Mina invited me to her birthday party, and, Mama, why do you look scared?" 8 years old, and she could read her mother like a book. Linda took a deep breath. "Remember how I told you we should always be honest with each other?" Rita nodded seriously. "We're going to meet someone important, and he might be around for a while, helping us with some things. Is this about that man from the restaurant, Mr. Do-yoon?" Linda's head snapped up. "How do you know about him?" "You talk in your sleep sometimes," Rita buckled her seatbelt. "You kept saying his name last night. Is he your boyfriend?" "No, baby. He's just someone who's going to help us stay safe." "Safe from what?" Linda looked at her daughter's trusting face and couldn't bring herself to explain. "From bad people, but it's going to be okay. Mama promises." Rita studied her for a long moment, then reached over and squeezed her hand. "Okay, Mama, I trust you." Those 4 words nearly broke her. The address led to a modern building with a security gate and a doorman who clearly expected them. He guided them to a penthouse elevator that required a key card to operate. As they ascended, Rita pressed her face to the glass, watching Seoul spread out below them. "Wow, is this where Mr. Do-yoon lives?" "I think so. He must be really rich." The elevator doors opened directly into a penthouse apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, art that probably cost more than Linda's entire business. And standing by the window, backlit by afternoon sun, was Do-yoon Choi. He turned as they entered, and Linda saw his expression shift when he spotted Rita. Something softened in his face, something almost vulnerable. "You must be Rita," he said in English, his accent slight but present. "Your mother has told me about you." Rita, who'd been shy for approximately 5 seconds, stepped forward. "She has. What did she say?" "That you're smart, kind, and very good at noticing things." "That's true. I notice you have a scar on your eyebrow. How'd you get it?" "Rita!" Linda hissed. But Do-yoon smiled, actually smiled, transforming his face from intimidating to almost approachable. "I got it in a fight when I was young and stupid. It reminds me not to be stupid anymore." "Do you get in fights a lot?" "Not anymore. I learned there are better ways to solve problems." Rita considered this. "My teacher says words are better than fighting." "Your teacher is very wise." Do-yoon glanced at Linda. "May I speak with your mother alone for a moment? There's a room just there with books and games. Would you like to explore?" Rita looked to Linda, who nodded reluctantly. Once her daughter disappeared into the next room, Linda rounded on Do-yoon. "You manipulated me into coming here. I gave you information and let you make your own choice. You scared me. Those men outside the school were my men, not Seoman, though the ones outside the police station were definitely theirs." He moved toward her slowly, like approaching a skittish animal. "I needed you to understand how real this is. The threat isn't hypothetical, Linda. It's active and immediate." "So what? I just upend my entire life? Move into your penthouse? Let you control everything?" "No, you maintain your life, your business, your routine, Rita's school, but you accept security. Discreet, professional. And you work for me as a translator 3 days a week. Legal documents, nothing criminal. It gives me a legitimate reason to have people protecting you. And what do you get out of this? An excellent translator, information about my competitor's operations, and..." He stopped himself. "And what?" "And the satisfaction of knowing I helped someone who needed it." His jaw tightened. "I know you don't trust me. I wouldn't trust me either, but I'm offering you the only option that keeps Rita safe. Everything else is just pride." Linda wanted to argue, wanted to tell him she didn't need him, didn't need his money or his protection or his dangerous world. But when she thought about those men with cameras, about Thursday at 2 a.m., about Prosecutor Park Min-jae and what happened to people who got in the way, she couldn't. "What happened to the last person you protected?" she asked quietly. Do-yoon's expression closed off. "She's alive, safe, living in Canada under a new identity. But she couldn't handle my world, the violence, the uncertainty, the constant threat. It broke something in her." He met Linda's eyes. "I won't lie to you. This life has costs, but the alternative is letting the Seoman faction decide your future. And trust me, you don't want that." From the other room, Rita's laughter drifted out. She'd found something amusing in his library. The sound was so normal, so innocent, so completely at odds with this conversation. Linda closed her eyes. If I do this, if I agree to work for you, I need guarantees. Rita's safety is non-negotiable. She doesn't see violence. She doesn't get involved in whatever you do. She gets to be a kid. Agreed. And if at any point I think she's in more danger with you than without you, we walk away. No argument. Agreed. And you don't touch her. You don't use her to manipulate me. You don't... Linda. Do-yoon's voice was sharp. I don't hurt children. Ever. That's a line I won't cross no matter what. Something in his tone made her believe him. Maybe she was being naive. Maybe she was making the worst mistake of her life. But what choice did she have? Okay, Linda whispered. Okay, I'll do it. Do-yoon's shoulders relaxed slightly. Thank you. Don't thank me, just keep us alive. Rita bounded back into the room, holding a book. Mr. Do-yoon, you have Korean fairy tales in English. Can I borrow this? You can keep it, Do-yoon said. I don't read them anymore. Really? Rita hugged the book to her chest. Thank you, Mama. Can Mr. Do-yoon come to dinner sometime? I want to ask him about all the places in Seoul we haven't visited yet. Linda looked at Do-yoon, who looked just as surprised by the invitation as she felt. We'll see, baby, Linda managed. But as they left the penthouse, as Rita chattered about fairy tales and adventure, Linda caught Do-yoon's expression in the elevator's mirrored walls. He was watching them with something like longing, like he'd been offered a glimpse of a life he'd never thought possible. And despite everything, despite the danger and the criminals and the terrible decisions she was making, Linda felt something shift in her chest. Maybe Do-yoon Choi wasn't the monster everyone said he was. Or maybe he was exactly that monster, and she was already too far gone to care. 3 days passed before Linda saw Do-yoon again. 3 days of looking over her shoulder, of Rita asking why strange men were suddenly following them to school, of translating innocuous real estate contracts for the Choi organization, while wondering what she'd gotten herself into. The security Do-yoon promised was professional, nearly invisible, but Linda felt their presence like a weight on her shoulders. On Thursday morning, her phone buzzed with a news alert. Major drug bust at Busan port. Corrupt inspector arrested. Linda's hand shook as she read the article. Container 447. Inspector Kwon. Everything the Seoul faction had discussed had been intercepted. The article mentioned an anonymous tip that led authorities to the location. Her recording. Do-yoon had used her recording. Before she could process what that meant, her phone rang. Did you see the news? Do-yoon's voice was calm, but she heard satisfaction underneath. You used my information to destroy their operation. I used your information to stop a shipment of fentanyl that would have killed hundreds of people, and to remove a corrupt official who'd been poisoning the justice system for years. A pause. You're welcome. I didn't do this to help you win some gang war. No, you did it to survive. But the outcome is the same. The Seoul faction just lost millions of won and significant face. They'll retaliate, but not against you. They'll come after me. That's supposed to make me feel better? It's supposed to make you understand that you're safer now than you were 3 days ago. Traffic noise filtered through the line. I'm outside your building. Rita gets out of school in an hour. I thought we could pick her up together. Why? Because she invited me to dinner, and I'd like to accept, if that's okay with you. Linda looked around her small apartment. Dishes in the sink. Rita's homework scattered across the coffee table. laundry that needed folding. Nothing about this space was ready for someone like Do-yoon Choi. My apartment isn't... I don't care about your apartment, Linda. I care about spending time with you and Rita, as a thank you for your help, and because... He stopped himself. Because what? Because I'd like to, if you'll let me. There was something in his voice, a tentative quality she hadn't heard before, like he was genuinely asking, not demanding or manipulating, like her answer actually mattered. Okay, Linda heard herself say, but you're helping me cook. I don't cook. Then you're about to learn. She could hear the smile in his voice. I'll be downstairs in 5 minutes. When Linda emerged from her building, Do-yoon was leaning against a Mercedes, looking like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Dark jeans, a fitted black sweater, expensive but understated. Without the suit, he looked younger, more approachable, almost normal, until you looked at his eyes and remembered exactly what he was. You look nervous, he observed as she approached. I'm taking a crime lord to pick up my daughter from school. How should I look? Fair point. He opened the passenger door for her. For what it's worth, I'm nervous too. You? Nervous? I don't have experience with children, or dinner invitations, or any of this, he gestured vaguely, between them. I'm significantly out of my depth. The admission was so unexpected that Linda laughed. At least you're honest about it. The drive to Seoul International School was quiet. Linda watched the city pass by, hyper-aware of Do-yoon's presence beside her. He drove with the same control he seemed to bring to everything, precise, confident, completely focused. Can I ask you something? Linda said finally. Of course. That woman you protected before, the one who left, what was her name? Do-yoon's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Kim Ji-soo. We dated in university before I fully took over family operations. When a rival faction targeted her, I did what I had to do to keep her safe. What did you have to do? Things that still wake me up at night. His jaw clenched. I killed 3 men, personally. She saw the aftermath, saw what I was capable of when someone I cared about was threatened. And she couldn't handle it. Would you? Could you look at someone the same way after watching them commit murder, even if it was to protect you? Linda thought about it, about violence and protection and the thin line between them. I don't know, but I think context matters. Were they coming to kill her? Yes. Then you didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. I chose violence. Ji-soo chose to leave. We both made the decisions we could live with. He glanced at her. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand what being close to me means. It means danger. It means hard choices. It means seeing parts of me I wish I could hide. And if I can't handle it, then you leave and I make sure you and Rita are protected from a distance. No hard feelings, no obligations. His voice dropped. But I hope you'll stay. Before Linda could respond, they pulled up to the school. Rita was waiting by the gates with her friend Mina, both girls chattering excitedly. When Rita spotted the car, her eyes went wide. Mama and Mr. Do-yoon. Guillaume ran over, Mina in tow. Mina, this is the man I told you about, the really handsome one. Mina giggled while Do-yoon looked genuinely flustered. Rita, Linda started, but Do-yoon was already crouching down to Rita's level. Hello again, he said seriously. Did you finish that fairy tale book? Yes, and I have so many questions. Like, why does the tiger always trick people? And why do the old people in Korean stories always turn into mountains? And did you know there's a story about a man who becomes a fish? How does that even work? Do-yoon blinked, clearly overwhelmed by the barrage of questions. But instead of dismissing Rita, he considered each one thoughtfully. The tiger represents cunning and danger. The mountains represent wisdom and eternity. And the man who becomes a fish is about transformation and sacrifice. He stood, offering Rita his hand. We can discuss it more at dinner, if you'd like. Rita took his hand without hesitation. You're coming to dinner? If that's still okay with you. It's very okay, Rita beamed up at him, then at Linda. Mama, can Mr. Do-yoon help me with my Korean homework? Teacher Kim says I need to practice my formal speech patterns. We'll see, baby. As they drove home, Rita chattered nonstop from the back seat, telling Do-yoon about her day, her friends, her favorite subjects. And Do-yoon listened, actually listened, asking follow-up questions and engaging with her stories like they were the most important things he'd ever heard. Linda watched this interaction in the rearview mirror, something warm and terrifying unfurling in her chest. Back at the apartment, Linda put Do-yoon to work chopping vegetables for bulgogi, while Rita set the table with elaborate care, explaining to him the proper way to arrange chopsticks and where the kimchi should go. He took notes like she was teaching him crucial state secrets. You're good with her, Linda said quietly, as they worked side by side in her tiny kitchen. She makes it easy. She's... Do-yoon paused, searching for words. She's everything pure and good in a world that's neither of those things. She likes you, I can tell. I like her too, more than I expected to. He set down the knife, turning to face Linda. I didn't understand what I was protecting until I met her. You weren't just a witness or an asset. You were a mother with everything to lose. And Rita, she's why you fight so hard. Why you took that terrible job, went on that terrible date, why you're standing in this kitchen with a criminal helping you make dinner. Are you always this intense? Only when something matters. His dark eyes held hers. And this, you, Rita, this moment, it matters. The air between them felt charged, dangerous in a completely different way than before. Linda's breath caught as Do-yoon stepped closer, his hand coming up to brush a strand of hair from her face. Mama, the rice cooker is beeping! Rita's voice broke the moment. Linda stepped, back quickly, her heart hammering. Coming, baby. Dinner was chaotic and wonderful. Rita asked 1,000 questions about everything from Korean history to why adults drank coffee when it tasted terrible. Do-yoon answered each one with patience Linda hadn't known he possessed, occasionally throwing in dry observations that made her laugh despite herself. Mr. Do-yoon, Rita said, around a mouthful of rice, do you have a family? The question landed like a grenade. Do-yoon set down his chopsticks carefully. I have a father and a younger sister. My mother passed away when I was young. I'm sorry, Rita's face scrunched with sympathy. I don't have a dad. Well, I have one somewhere, but he left when I was little. Mama says he made mistakes. Your mother is generous. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. Do you forgive your dad? Rita, Linda warned, but Do-yoon shook his head. It's okay. He looked at Rita seriously. No, I don't forgive my father. He hurt people I loved, but I learned from his mistakes. I try to be better than he was. That's good. Mama says we should always try to be better than yesterday. Rita tilted her head. Do you want to be part of our family? We're small, but we're nice. Linda choked on her water. Rita Wilson. What? You're always sad when you think I'm not looking. And Mr. Do-yoon looks sad too. Sad people should stick together so they can be happy. Do-yoon's expression did something complicated. Surprise, longing, and a vulnerability that made Linda's chest ache. "I would be honored to be part of your family, Rita," he said quietly, "if your mother agrees." Rita looked expectantly at Linda, who felt like she'd been cornered by an 8-year-old and a mafia boss. The worst possible combination. "Let's take things slow," Linda managed. "Mr. Do-yoon is our friend. That's a good start." Rita seemed satisfied with this answer, launching immediately into a detailed explanation of her upcoming school project. But under the table, Linda felt Do-yoon's hand brush against hers. A question, an offer, a promise of something she wasn't ready to name. She should pull away, should maintain distance, should remember who he was and what he did. Instead, she let their fingers intertwine, hidden from Rita's view, and felt something shift irrevocably. After dinner, Rita fell asleep on the couch mid-sentence, exhausted by the day's excitement. Do-yoon carried her to bed without being asked, tucking her in with surprising gentleness while Linda watched from the doorway. "You're natural at this," Linda whispered as they retreated to the living room. "I've never done this before. Any of this." He turned to face her, and in the dim light of her apartment, he looked young and uncertain. "My childhood was training and discipline. I was groomed to lead, not to care, not to feel. And then you and Rita appeared in my life, and suddenly I'm helping with homework and cooking dinner and wanting—" He stopped. "Wanting what?" "Something I have no right to want. A normal life, a family, mornings that don't start with security briefings and nights that end with fairy tales instead of body counts." His hand came up to cup her face. "You, Linda, I want you in every way I shouldn't." "This is insane," Linda whispered, but she didn't pull away. "We barely know each other. You're dangerous. Your world is dangerous. You should tell me to leave. Tell me you can't do this. Tell me anything except what I see in your eyes right now." "And what do you see?" "Someone who's just as terrified and drawn to this as I am." Linda's breath hitched as Do-yoon leaned closer, his forehead resting against hers. They stood like that for a long moment, balanced on the edge of something neither could take back. "If we do this," Linda said finally, "if we try whatever this is, you have to promise me something. Anything. If it ever becomes a choice between your world and Rita's safety, you let us go, no matter what you feel, no matter what I feel. She comes first. Always. I wouldn't have it any other way." His thumb traced her cheekbone. "Can I kiss you now? Or do you need more conditions?" Linda laughed, surprised by the lightness in her chest, despite everything. "Just one more. Don't break my heart." "I'll try my best, but Linda, you might break mine first." He kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious he was afraid to damage. Linda's hands fisted in his sweater, pulling him closer, and the kiss deepened into something desperate and hungry and completely inevitable. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Do-yoon rested his forehead against hers again. "I should go," he murmured, "before I do something stupid like ask to stay." "That would be stupid. Incredibly stupid." Neither of them moved. "Do-yoon," Linda whispered, "I'm scared." "So am I, but I'm more scared of walking away and spending the rest of my life wondering what we could have been." He kissed her once more, achingly gentle, then forced himself toward the door. Linda followed, not trusting herself to speak. At the threshold, Do-yoon turned back. "Tomorrow, let me take you and Rita somewhere normal. The amusement park, the Han River, anywhere you want. Let me have one day of pretending we're just ordinary people. We're not ordinary people. I know, but let me pretend anyway. Linda thought about all the reasons she should say no. About the danger, the complications, the impossibility of this entire situation. Then she thought about Rita's words. Sad people should stick together so they can be happy. Okay, she said. Tomorrow. But if Rita wants to go on every single ride, you're not allowed to complain. I've faced armed gunmen with more composure than I'll have on a roller coaster, but for you, I'll suffer through it. He left with that, and Linda locked the door behind him, leaning against it as she tried to process what had just happened. She'd kissed Do-yoon Choi. She'd agreed to see him again. She was falling for a man whose business card might as well read, "Professional dangerous decision." Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You looked cozy tonight. Enjoy it while it lasts. A friend. Linda's blood ran cold. She checked the locks again, then peeked in on Rita, who was sleeping peacefully, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Another text, this time from Do-yoon. Security just reported a surveillance attempt on your building. They've been eliminated. You're safe. Sleep well. Eliminated. Such a clean word for something that probably wasn't clean at all. Linda climbed into bed, but didn't sleep. Instead, she stared at the ceiling and wondered if safety and happiness could ever coexist in Do-yoon's world. If Rita would pay the price for her mother's terrible choices. If love was worth the cost, when the cost might be everything. The next morning dawned bright and clear, perfect for the amusement park. Rita bounced around the apartment, chattering excitedly about which rides they'd go on first. She'd picked out her favorite dress, the yellow one with flowers that made her look impossibly young and innocent. Mama, do you think Mr. Do-yoon will win me a stuffed animal at the games? I think he'll try his best, baby. Good, because I want the biggest teddy bear they have. Do-yoon arrived exactly on time, dressed casually in jeans and a simple shirt, looking almost normal except for the black SUV and the subtle security detail following at a distance. Rita didn't notice or didn't care, launching herself at him with a hug that clearly surprised him. Ready for adventure? He asked, catching her easily. So ready! Mama said you've never been to Lotta World. How is that even possible? You live here. I've been busy with work. Well, today you're busy with fun. Come on. At the amusement park, Linda watched Do-yoon transform. He rode every ride. Rita wanted, even the spinning teacups that clearly made him nauseous. He won her that giant teddy bear after 6 attempts at the ring toss, his competitive nature showing through. He bought them cotton candy and let Rita paint his face with temporary tattoos. And he looked at Linda like she was the only person in the entire crowded park. Thank you for this, Linda said as they watched Rita on the carousel, her face lit with pure joy. Thank you for letting me be part of it. Do-yoon's hand found hers. I never knew what I was missing until now. Missing what? This, normalcy, happiness that doesn't come with strings attached or ulterior motives, just being with people who matter. We matter to you more than anything. He squeezed her hand. Linda, I know this is fast. I know it's complicated, but I need you to know that whatever happens, whatever my world throws at us, what I feel for you is real. This isn't strategy or manipulation. This is love? The word slipped out before Linda could stop it. Do-yoon's eyes widened slightly. Yes, I think it might be. Is that insane? Completely. Linda smiled despite herself. But I think I might feel the same way. And that's even more insane. He pulled her close, kissing her forehead as Rita waved from the carousel. Then let's be insane together. For one perfect afternoon, they were just a family enjoying a day out. No threats, no danger, no criminal empires. Just Do-yoon, Linda, and Rita, pretending that happy endings were possible. But as the sun set and they drove home, Linda noticed the black sedan following them. Noticed the way Do-yoon's jaw tightened when he saw it too. Noticed the subtle hand signal he gave to his security team. The fantasy was over. Reality was waiting. That night, after Rita was asleep and Do-yoon had kissed Linda goodnight at her door, she found another message on her phone. This time, it was a photo. Rita at school. The timestamp was from that morning. The caption, "Pretty daughter, shame if something happened to her." Linda's hand shook as she forwarded it to Do-yoon. His response was immediate. "I'm coming back. Pack a bag. You're both moving to a safe house tonight." No, we're not running. We're not changing Rita's life because some coward sent a threatening text. Linda, this isn't negotiable. Yes, it is. You don't get to make decisions for us. We stay here, we keep our routine, and you figure out how to stop them. That's what you promised. A long pause. Then, "You're right, I'm sorry, but I'm doubling security, and I'm ending this. The Seoul faction crossed a line. They're done." "What are you going to do?" "Whatever I have to. Get some rest. Tomorrow, everything changes." Linda stared at her phone, at that photo of her innocent daughter, and felt something harden in her chest. She'd been trying to stay out of Do-yoon's world, trying to keep her hands clean while accepting his protection. But they'd threatened Rita. They'd made this personal. And Linda Wilson hadn't survived 6 years as a single mother in a foreign country by being passive. If Do-yoon was going to war, then so was she. The call came at 2 a.m. Linda jerked awake, heart already racing before her conscious mind registered the sound. She grabbed her phone, seeing Do-yoon's name flash across the screen. "Hello? Don't panic." His voice was tight, controlled in that way that meant something had gone very wrong. "Is Rita with you?" Linda's blood turned to ice. She threw off her covers, racing to Rita's room. Her daughter was there, sleeping peacefully, the giant teddy bear from yesterday clutched in her arms. Linda sagged against the door frame. "She's here. She's safe. What happened?" "The Seoul faction hit one of my properties an hour ago. They left a message. They're coming for you tomorrow night." A pause, heavy with meaning. "They gave me a choice. Hand you over or watch everyone I care about die." Then, "Hand me over." "Linda, I'm serious. If it's me or Rita's safety, it's not even a question. You let them have me. You keep her safe. And stop." The word cracked like a whip. "I'm not trading your life for anything. Do you understand me? Nothing. Do-yoon, she's 8 years old. And you're her mother. You think Rita survives losing you? You think I let that happen?" His voice dropped, raw and fierce. "I've already lost everyone I loved once. I'm not doing it again. We find another way." Linda pressed her forehead against Rita's doorframe, watching her daughter sleep. What other way? They've made their move. What can we possibly... "You let me handle it. You trust me." He exhaled sharply. "I need you to do something for me. Something you're not going to like." "What?" "There's a USB drive in the book I gave Rita. The fairy tale collection, hidden in the spine. Inside are files, everything I have on the Seoul faction. Names, operations, financial records, locations. Enough to destroy them completely." Linda's hand tightened on her phone. "Why are you telling me this?" Because if something happens to me tomorrow, you need leverage. You take those files to Detective Han. You make a deal. Witness protection for you and Rita in exchange for testimony. You disappear, start over, and you never look back. And what about you? I'll be dead, so it won't matter. The casual way he said it made Linda want to scream. Do-yoon, I need you to promise me, Linda. If I don't contact you by noon tomorrow, you take Rita and those files and you run. You don't come looking for me. You don't try to help. You save yourself and our daughter. Our daughter? Linda's voice cracked on the words. Silence stretched between them, heavy with everything unsaid. When Do-yoon spoke again, his voice was softer than she'd ever heard it. Yes, ours. Because in every way that matters, she's already mine. You both are. He cleared his throat. Promise me. Linda, I promise. The lie tasted like ash. But you better contact me by noon, Do-yoon Choi, or I swear I'll hunt you down myself. There's my fighter. She could hear the smile in his voice. Get some sleep. Tomorrow, everything ends. He hung up before she could respond. Linda stood there in the dark, phone clutched in her hand, and made a decision that would change everything. She wasn't waiting until noon. She wasn't sitting by helplessly while Do-yoon walked into whatever trap the Seoul faction had laid. She was going to end this herself. Moving quietly, Linda retrieved the fairy tale book from Rita's room. Sure enough, when she examined the spine, she felt the slight irregularity. She carefully extracted the USB drive, her hands steady despite her racing heart. She had leverage now. The question was how to use it. Linda booted up her laptop, plugging in the drive. What she found made her stomach turn. Detailed records of human trafficking routes, money laundering, operations spanning 3 countries, photographs of meetings between Seoul leadership and corrupt officials. Names, dates, locations, everything needed to dismantle their entire organization. And buried in a subfolder labeled Insurance, she found something else. Video footage. Linda clicked the first file. It showed a warehouse, the timestamp from 6 months ago. A man was tied to a chair. She recognized him from news reports as a missing prosecutor who'd been investigating organized crime. And standing over him, clearly visible, was Park Jae-sung, the head of the Seoul faction. What happened next made Linda close her eyes, but she forced herself to watch, to witness, to understand exactly what these men were capable of. When the video ended, Linda sat in the darkness of her apartment, a plan forming. A terrible, dangerous, possibly suicidal plan, but the only one that ended with Rita safe and Do-yoon alive. She picked up her phone and dialed a number she'd sworn she'd never use. Yobeoseo? A woman's voice, groggy with sleep. Is this Choi Yuna, Do-yoon's sister? A pause. Who is this? Linda Wilson. We need to meet. Now. Your brother's life depends on it. 30 minutes later, Linda sat in a 24-hour cafe in Gangnam, across from a woman who looked like a feminine version of Do-yoon. Same sharp features, same assessing eyes, same aura of barely contained danger. You have nerve calling me at 3 a.m., Yuna said, sipping her coffee with unsettling calmness. My brother know you're here? No, and we're keeping it that way. Interesting. Yuna leaned back, studying Linda with the intensity of someone trained to spot weakness. He's planning something stupid, isn't he? Something noble and self-sacrificing? He's planning to trade himself for me and Rita, to end the war with Seoul. Of course he is, idiot. But Yuna's voice was fond beneath the criticism. And you're here because you want to stop him. I'm here because I have leverage, and I need your help to use it. Linda slid her phone across the table, showing the USB drive contents. Everything Do-yoon has on Seoul, including video evidence of them murdering prosecutor Kim 6 months ago. Yuna's eyes widened as she scrolled through the files. Where did you get this? Do-yoon gave it to me, as insurance, in case something happened to him. Linda leaned forward. But I'm not using it to run. I'm using it to destroy them, tonight, before they can make their move. You realize this is insane? You're a translator with a daughter. You have no training, no backup, no... I have information that could end this war. I have your brother's life on the line. And I have motivation. Linda's voice hardened. They threatened Rita. They sent me a photo of my daughter at school with a caption about what a shame it would be if something happened to her. So no, I don't have training or backup. But I have rage and I have leverage, and I'm done being the helpless civilian everyone needs to protect. Yuna stared at her for a long moment, then smiled, a sharp, dangerous expression that reminded Linda exactly whose sister she was. Okay, American, you want to play in my world? Let's play. But we do this smart, not emotional. She pulled out her own phone, typing rapidly. I have contacts in the prosecutor's office, people who've been waiting for evidence against Seoul but couldn't move without solid proof. You give them this, they move tonight. Simultaneous raids on every Seoul operation. That's not enough. Park Jae-sung will have escape routes, safe houses, contingencies, which is where you come in. Yuna's smile widened. You're going to deliver him personally. Linda's heart hammered. How? By giving him exactly what he wants. You. The plan was insane. Linda knew it was insane. But as Yuna laid out the details, she realized it was also the only way to end this without Do-yoon sacrificing himself. By dawn, everything was in motion. Linda returned home to find Rita awake, making herself cereal in the kitchen with the practiced ease of a child used to mornings alone. Mama, you're up early. Rita's smile faded when she saw Linda's expression. What's wrong? Linda knelt down, pulling her daughter into a fierce hug. Baby, I need you to do something for me today, something really important. Okay, Rita pulled back, her small face serious. What? Mrs. Kim is going to pick you up from school today, not me. You're going to stay with her until I come get you. And if anyone else tries to pick you up, anyone at all, even if they say they know me, you scream and run, understand? Mama, you're scaring me. I know, baby, I'm sorry, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Rita bit her lip, then nodded. Is this about Mr. Do-yoon? Is he in trouble? Yes, but I'm going to fix it, I promise. Linda kissed her daughter's forehead, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. I love you more than anything in this world. You know that, right? I know, Mama. I love you too. Rita hugged her tighter. Be careful, okay? You're all I have. You'll always have me. Always. Linda dropped Rita at school at 8 a.m., watching until her daughter disappeared into the building. Then she drove to a location Yuna had sent her, a warehouse in Guro district that supposedly belonged to Seoul. She parked her car in clear view of the security cameras and waited. It took less than 10 minutes. 3 black vans pulled up surrounding her car. Men poured out, armed and clearly prepared for resistance. Linda kept her hands visible on the steering wheel, heart hammering, but expression calm. The passenger door opened. A man slid in beside her. Late 50s, expensive suit, cold eyes that assessed her like she was a particularly interesting insect. Ms. Wilson, how convenient of you to deliver yourself. Park Jae-sung's Korean was crisp, educated. I assume Do-yoon Choi sent you to negotiate. No, I came myself. Linda turned to face him directly. I want to make a deal. You're in no position to negotiate. I have something you want, my silence, my testimony that Do-yoon Choi kidnapped me and my daughter, forced me to work for him, threatened us. Linda kept her voice steady. I'm willing to go to the police, to destroy his reputation, to give you everything you need to dismantle his organization, in exchange for one thing. Which is, you leave Rita alone, you leave me alone, you get what you want, Do-yoon's empire, and we disappear. New identities, new city, you never hear from us again. Park studied her with those dead eyes. And why would I believe you'd betray the man you've been sleeping with? Linda felt her face flush, but didn't look away. Because he's not worth my daughter's life. Because I'm a mother first and whatever else second. Because at the end of the day, I choose survival, same as you. A slow smile spread across Park's face. You're smarter than I gave you credit for. But there's a problem with your offer. What? I don't need your testimony. I don't need you to destroy Do-yoon Choi. He leaned closer, and Linda smelled expensive cologne mixed with something medicinal. I just need him to watch you die, to break him, to show everyone in Seoul what happens when you stand against the Seoul faction. Linda's blood ran cold, but she'd expected this. Yuna had warned her. Park wouldn't accept a deal. He wanted blood, wanted spectacle, wanted to make an example, which was exactly why she'd worn a wire. So you're saying you're going to murder me? Linda spoke clearly, making sure the recording device hidden under her shirt caught every word. In front of witnesses, even though I came here to negotiate peacefully? Who said anything about witnesses? Park's smile widened. This warehouse is scheduled for demolition next week. Very tragic accident. Gas leak. You and whoever comes looking for, you, probably that fool Do-yoon, both dead. The Choi organization falls into chaos, and Seoul rises. And the USB drive I have, the one with all your operations detailed, the video of you killing prosecutor Kim? Park's expression froze. What drive? The one Do-yoon gave me. The one I copied and sent to 3 different people with instructions to deliver it to the authorities, if anything happens to me. Linda's smile was cold now, all fear burned away by rage. Did you really think I'd come here without insurance? Without a way to take you down even if you kill me? You're bluffing. Am I? Linda pulled out her phone, showing him a screenshot of the video. Park's face clearly visible as he pulled the trigger. I've seen what you are, what you're capable of, and I made sure the world will see it too. Unless what? Unless you let me and Rita go. Right now, you forget we exist. We forget you exist. And maybe, I don't send this to every news organization in Seoul. Park's hand shot out, gripping her throat. Or I kill you right now and find that drive myself. Then you die too. Linda choked out the words. Because this warehouse is surrounded. Prosecutors, police, Do-yoon's people. They're all waiting for my signal. And the second I don't walk out of here in 5 minutes, they move in and you spend the rest of your life in prison. It was a lie. The police weren't there. They were hitting Seoul's other operations. Do-yoon didn't know where she was. Nobody was coming to save her, but Park didn't know that. His grip loosened slightly. You're lying. Try me. They stared at each other, 2 people locked in a deadly game of chicken. Linda could see Park calculating, weighing his options, trying to decide if she was bluffing. Then his phone rang. Park answered, his expression darkening with each word he heard. When he hung up, he looked at Linda with something like grudging respect. My operations are being raided, every single one, simultaneously. His voice was dangerously quiet. Prosecutors with warrants. How? I told you, I have leverage, and I used it. Linda's voice steadied as confidence flooded through her. It's over, Park Jae-sung. Your empire is falling right now. The only question is whether you go down as a murderer who dies in a police shootout, or as someone smart enough to surrender. You think I'm going to prison? I think you're going to make a choice. You can kill me, but Do-yoon will hunt you to the ends of the earth. You can run, but every prosecutor in Korea now has your face. Or, Linda leaned forward, ignoring the hand still at her throat. You can let me walk out of here. Let me and Rita disappear. Focus on saving whatever you can of your organization. Live to fight another day. And the video? Stays in my insurance file. You leave us alone, it stays buried. You come after us, it goes viral. Linda met his eyes. Your choice, but you have about 2 minutes before Do-yoon figures out where I am, and then your choice becomes a lot more limited. Park released her throat, sitting back. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he laughed, a short, bitter sound. You have steel in you, Ms. Wilson. I see why Do-yoon is obsessed. He gestured to his men. Let her go. Sir, I said let her go. Park's voice was steel. Ms. Wilson and I have an understanding, don't we? We do. Linda opened the car door on shaking legs. For what it's worth, I hope you use this chance to disappear. Because if you don't, if you ever come near my daughter again, I won't need Do-yoon to destroy you. I'll do it myself. She walked out of that warehouse on trembling legs, half expecting a bullet in her back with every step. But she made it to her car, made it out of the industrial district, made it 3 blocks before she had to pull over and vomit in an alley. Her phone rang. Do-yoon. Where are you? His voice was frantic. Linda, where the hell are you? I just got word that half of Seoul's operations got raided, and nobody knows how, and you're not answering your door. I'm okay. I'm safe. Linda wiped her mouth, her whole body shaking. It's over, Do-yoon. I ended it. Silence. Then, quietly, what did you do? What I had to keep us all alive. Linda started her car, pointing it toward Rita's school. Meet me at my apartment in an hour. I'll explain everything. Linda, 1 hour. And Do-yoon? We need to talk about a lot of things, including what happens next. She hung up before he could argue, driving through Seoul's morning traffic with her hands still trembling and her heart still racing. She just confronted a murderer, bluffed her way through a deadly negotiation, used information she barely understood to trigger the downfall of a criminal empire. And she'd done it all to protect the people she loved. Linda called Yuna. It worked. Park let me go, but you need to move fast before he realizes I was bluffing about backup. Already moving. Prosecutors are picking him up in 20 minutes. We made sure he had nowhere to run. Yuna's voice held satisfaction. You did good, American. Better than good. You just accomplished what my brother's been trying to do for 2 years. I just want my daughter safe. She is. And Linda, welcome to the family. Anyone who can stare down Park Jae-sung and walk away alive has earned their place in our world. I don't want to be in your world. Too late, you're already in it. Might as well embrace it. Yuna paused. My brother loves you, you know, truly. I've never seen him like this. I know. Linda's voice softened. I love him too. which is why we need to have a very serious conversation about what comes next. Linda picked up Rita from school personally, ignoring protocol and every one of Do-yoon's security measures. She needed to hold her daughter, to confirm she was real and safe and untouched by the violence that had surrounded them. "Mama!" Rita threw herself into Linda's arms. "You came. I was worried after this morning." "I'm here, baby. Everything's okay now." Linda breathed in her daughter's scent, fighting back tears. "Everything's going to be okay." But when they got home, Do-yoon was waiting outside her apartment building. He looked wrecked, hair disheveled, still wearing yesterday's clothes, eyes red-rimmed like he hadn't slept. The moment he saw Linda, something in his expression cracked. "You—" He stopped, seeming to struggle for words. "You could have died. You could have—" He shook his head, unable to finish. "Mr. Do-yoon!" Rita ran to him, hugging his waist. "Did Mama tell you? She was a superhero today." Do-yoon's eyes met Linda's over Rita's head. "Yes, she was, is, always has been." He crouched down to Rita's level. "Rita, can I talk to your mother alone for a few minutes? Are you going to yell at her? Because she was really brave." "I'm not going to yell, I promise." Rita looked between them suspiciously, then nodded. "Okay, but Mama, if he makes you cry, I'm telling." Inside the apartment, after Rita disappeared into her room with snacks and cartoons, Do-yoon finally let his control slip. "What were you thinking?" His voice was low, furious. "You went to Yuna. You triggered raids on Seoul. You walked into a warehouse and confronted Park Jae-sung yourself. Do you have any idea what could have happened? Yes, I could have died, but I didn't." Linda crossed her arms. "And more importantly, you're alive. Rita's safe. Park is going to prison. The Seoul faction is finished, so my insane plan worked. Your insane plan could have gotten you killed. And your insane plan would have definitely gotten you killed." Linda's voice rose to match his. "You were going to trade yourself, sacrifice yourself to protect us. Did you really think I'd just sit back and let that happen? I was trying to keep you safe. And I was trying to keep you safe. That's what people who love each other do, Do-yoon. They protect each other, not just one person martyring themselves while the other watches helplessly." The word love hung in the air between them, electric and terrifying. Do-yoon closed his eyes. "You could have died," he repeated, but this time his voice broke. "When Yuna told me what you'd done, when I realized you'd walked into that warehouse alone, He stopped, fists clenched. "I've faced enemies, survived assassination attempts, buried people I cared about, but nothing has ever terrified me like the thought of losing you." "Then you understand how I felt when you were planning to sacrifice yourself." Linda moved closer, her anger melting into something softer. "I'm not some damsel who needs rescuing, Do-yoon. I'm a woman who's survived things you can't imagine, who's built a life from nothing, who's raised a daughter alone in a foreign country. I'm strong, and it's time you started treating me like an equal partner, not a victim. You want to be my partner?" Do-yoon's eyes opened, searching hers. "In what? My organization? My life? Both?" "I don't know yet. That's what we need to figure out." Linda took a breath. "Because this, us, it can't keep going the way it has been. With you making decisions for me, with me being kept in the dark about your world, with Rita caught in the middle of something neither of us can control." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying we need to rebuild this relationship on different terms, equal terms." Linda moved to the window, looking out at Seoul's skyline. I'm not asking you to leave your organization. I know that's not realistic. You have responsibilities, people who depend on you. But I'm also not going to be the girlfriend who sits at home pretending not to know what you do. Then what do you want to be? Linda turned to face him. I want to be your partner. Actually, your partner. You said I'm an excellent translator. Fine. I work for you legitimately. But I also want to understand your business. The legal parts, the gray parts, all of it. No more secrets. No more protection through ignorance. Linda, some things you're better off not knowing. Stop deciding what I'm better off knowing. I just confronted a killer and lived to tell about it. I think I can handle knowing the truth about your empire. She stepped closer. You want me in your life? Then let me all the way in, not just the pretty parts. Everything. Do-yoon stared at her for a long moment. My father will never accept you. His allies will see you as weakness. Your life will become infinitely more complicated. My life has been complicated since the moment I overheard that conversation in the restaurant. At least now I'm choosing the complications on my own terms. And Rita? Rita comes first, always. That's non-negotiable. But she also deserves to see her mother as someone strong, someone who makes her own choices, someone who doesn't compromise who she is for anyone. Linda's voice softened. She already loves you, Do-yoon. She called you part of our family. And I know, I love you too. But love isn't enough without respect, without equality, without trust. I do trust you. After today, how could I not? Then prove it. No more secrets. No more protecting me from the truth. We're partners, or we're nothing. Do-yoon moved toward her slowly, like approaching something precious and fragile. You're sure? Once you're all the way in my world, there's no going back. You'll see things that will haunt you. You'll make choices that will change you. You'll become someone who can protect herself and her daughter. Someone who understands the rules of the game you play. Someone who can stand beside you instead of behind you. Linda met his eyes. I'm not afraid of becoming stronger, Do-yoon. I'm afraid of staying weak. You were never weak. He cupped her face in both hands. From the moment I saw you in that restaurant, understanding a conversation you shouldn't, making choices that could have gotten you killed, I knew you were dangerous in the best possible way. But I was selfish. I wanted to protect you, keep you separate from the darkness of my life. I wanted you to stay pure. Nobody stays pure in the real world. We all make compromises. We all get our hands dirty. The question is whether we do it consciously, for reasons we believe in, or whether we do it blindly, telling ourselves pretty lies. Do-yoon laughed, the sound strained. How did I fall in love with someone who sees through all my bullshit? Because you were tired of people who didn't. Linda kissed him softly. So, are we partners? Real partners? We're partners. He kissed her back, deeper, pulling her close. God help me, we're partners, which means tomorrow you start learning everything. The businesses, the operations, A knock on the door interrupted them. Do-yoon tensed immediately, hand moving toward a weapon Linda hadn't even realized he was carrying. It's okay, Linda said, checking her phone. I was expecting this. She opened the door to reveal Detective Han and two other officers. The detective looked uncomfortable, but determined. Ms. Wilson, we need to ask you some questions about the raids that occurred this morning, and about your relationship with Do-yoon Choi. Of course, come in. Linda stepped aside, letting them enter. She caught Do-yoon's eye, giving him a subtle nod. Trust me, The questioning was intense. Detective Han clearly suspected Linda had been involved in the coordinated raids, but without proof, he couldn't do much beyond ask questions. Linda stuck to her story. She'd given the USB drive contents to Yuna, who'd passed it to prosecutors. She'd been terrified for her daughter's safety. She'd done what any mother would do. "And your relationship with Mr. Choi?" Detective Han asked, glancing at Do-yoon, who sat perfectly still, perfectly controlled. "Is it true? You're involved with him romantically?" "Is that illegal?" "It's suspicious. A civilian with no prior connection to organized crime suddenly becomes romantically involved with a major crime boss, and then just happens to be the conduit for information that takes down his main rival. I'm a translator. Do-yoon needed translation services. We met professionally, developed feelings, and yes, we're in a relationship." Linda kept her voice steady. "As for the information, I obtained it legally. I gave it to prosecutors who used it to obtain legal warrants. Unless you're suggesting I should have kept quiet about evidence of murder and human trafficking." Detective Han's expression flickered. "Of course not. But you understand how this looks. How it looks is that I protected my daughter and helped take down criminals. If that's suspicious, then I guess I'm guilty." Linda stood, signaling the conversation was over. "If you have actual charges to bring against me or Mr. Choi, please do so. Otherwise, I have a daughter who needs dinner and homework help." The detectives left, but Linda knew this wasn't over. She and Do-yoon would be watched now, their relationship scrutinized, every interaction analyzed for evidence of corruption or conspiracy. After they left, Do-yoon pulled Linda into his arms. "You're extraordinary, you know that? I'm terrified, but I'm good at hiding it." "So am I." He kissed her forehead. "Welcome to my world, partner. It's messy and dangerous and complicated. So is single motherhood. I think I'll manage." Rita emerged from her room, where she'd been remarkably quiet during the police interview. "Are the police gone?" "Yes, baby." "Good, because I have questions." Rita crossed her arms, looking impossibly serious for an 8-year-old. "Are you and Mr. Do-yoon boyfriend and girlfriend now, like officially?" Linda glanced at Do-yoon, who looked completely lost. "I think so. And is he going to live with us?" We haven't discussed. Because if he's going to be my dad, he should live here. That's how families work." Do-yoon crouched down to Rita's level. "Rita, your mother and I are together, but I'm not trying to replace your father. My father left. He doesn't count." Rita's voice was matter-of-fact. "You're here. You keep us safe. You make Mama smile. You're my dad now. I decided." "You decided?" Do-yoon's voice was thick with emotion. "Yes. Is that okay?" Do-yoon looked at Linda, who was crying now, unable to help it. "Is that okay?" he asked her. "I think—" Linda wiped her eyes. "I think that's up to Rita. If she wants you in her life that way, then yes, that's okay." Rita threw her arms around Do-yoon's neck. "Good, because I already made you a Father's Day card at school, and it would be weird if you weren't actually my dad." Do-yoon held her, eyes closed, and Linda watched something transform in his expression. The hardness that always lingered there, the wariness, the control, it melted away, leaving something raw and vulnerable and utterly human. "I would be honored," he whispered, "to be your dad." That night, after Rita fell asleep clutching her teddy bear, Linda and Do-yoon sat on her small balcony, sharing wine and watching Seoul's lights. "My father wants to meet you," Do-yoon said quietly, "officially, as my partner." "Is that going to be a nightmare?" Probably. He's not pleased about any of this. But after what you did today, taking down Seoul, protecting yourself, handling the police, he's curious, maybe even impressed, though he'd never admit it. And your sister? Yuna thinks you're magnificent. She's already planning how to integrate you into our operations. Do-yoon took Linda's hand. I should warn you, my father will test you. He'll try to find your weakness, exploit it, see if you'll break under pressure. Let him try. Linda squeezed his fingers. I've survived poverty, abandonment, raising a child alone in a foreign country. And today I looked a murderer in the eye and won. Your father doesn't scare me. He should, but I love that he doesn't. Do-yoon pulled her close. I never thought I could have this. Love, family, someone who sees all of me and doesn't run. You've given me more than I ever dared want. And you've given us safety, stability, and... Linda hesitated. And a future. A real one. Not just surviving day to day, but actually building something. She looked at him. I'm still terrified. Still not sure this isn't insane. But I'm choosing it anyway. Choosing you. Choosing us. Then we're both insane together. They sat in comfortable silence as Seoul hummed below them. Two people who'd found each other in the worst possible way and somehow made it work. A single mother and a crime boss. A translator and a killer. A woman who'd heard too much and a man who'd finally found someone worth changing for. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was messy and dangerous and complicated. But it was real, and sometimes real was enough. Inside, Rita slept peacefully, dreaming of families and futures and happy endings. Outside, Do-yoon's security team maintained their perimeter, keeping watch against threats that would keep coming. And in between, Linda and Do-yoon held each other, partners in every sense of the word, ready to face whatever came next, together. Hello, friends. The story teaches that true strength isn't avoiding danger, but protecting what matters most. Love requires equal partnership, not rescue. Sometimes survival means choosing courage over safety, together over alone.